you for joining us for the next session of the Ultimate Shopify Customer Marketing Summit, which is Crafting a Brand Customers Believe in with Caraway Home. I'm joined by Kirsten Guerry, and I'll go ahead and pass it over to Kirsten for a quick introduction.
Yeah, thank you, Rachel. Nice to meet you and see everyone. I'm Kirsten Guerry. I'm the Senior Director of Growth here at Caraway Home. For anyone unfamiliar with us, Caraway is a digitally native, non-toxic kitchenware brand that is rethinking what we cook with. So our mission is to make thoughtfully designed, healthier products more accessible without compromising on performance or style. In my role, I oversee our growth marketing efforts across channels like paid acquisition, email and SMS, influencer, TV, affiliate, you name it. I'm excited to share some of the ways we've built lasting relationships with our customers today.
Now, I have to tell you, Kirsten, I'm a super fan. I'm a total convert. All of my cookware now is Caraway Home. It really is that good. So well done on the products and I guess this, raving super fan that you've created out of me.
We'd
Now,
love to hear that. Thank you.
Caraway's built a brand that customers truly believe in. What's been your approach to building a level of trust and connection with your audience?
Yeah, I think there's so many ways that we can go about answering this question, but I think building trust really starts first with delivering a great product every time. So our cookware is made to be non-toxic, beautiful, durable, and something that, promises at the heart of everything we do. Beyond that, we've worked really hard to show up consistently across every touch point. So from our marketing to our beautiful unboxing experience, to our post-purchase emails. We also lead with transparency, especially right now with a volatile market. I think leading with transparency about our materials, our values, and again, even our pricing. That openness has helped build loyalty long term.
Customer feedback and reviews can be powerful tools for understanding what's resonating with your audience and what's not. How is Caraway using reviews and UGC to shape your marketing and post-purchase experience?
Yeah, we place a lot of emphasis on reviews and user-generated content. At the moment, we have over 82,000 five-star reviews, and we weave that social proof into everything. So from paid social ads to our PDPs to cart abandonment emails. It's not just about marketing, but it's about making our customers feel seen and understood. I also think the UGC element helps people picture Caraway in their own home. We get tagged in all sorts of fun content across different social channels, and we especially love to see the customers that have gone all in on Caraway and have every box and they're enjoying the unboxing experience and filming how they're taking the toxins out of their kitchen and replacing those items with Caraway. So we really like to showcase real kitchens, real feedback, real cooking moments. I think it's more relatable than just seeing the polished brand photography, which we also do a ton of.
Yeah, agreed. That authenticity really helps elevate the connection that you have with your customer base. Are you resharing their content or commenting on it? How do you foster community in that way?
Yeah, all of the above. We often ask for rights to reshare, repost. We're constantly engaging in all of the content we're tagged in. Our customer service team is best in class. They are on social, engaging all of the time, getting excited, particularly for those people that are super fans of the brand. And then, yeah, when we see content that we're like, oh, that's ad worthy, we'll ask for rights to run it as ads as well.
Great. And what are some of the key insights that you've uncovered through your customer feedback loop?
Yeah. Gosh, I think there's so many um, valuable insights that you can gain from reading through your reviews and polling your community. I think one big one for Caraway is customers don't just buy Caraway for themselves, they buy them as gifts. So it's really allowed us to lean into seasonal moments like Q4, wedding season is upon us. We just had Mother's Day. We're making a big moment out of Father's Day this year. So gaining that insight from customer reviews of I bought it for mom or dad helped us really build out gifting specific landing pages and messaging. And now we go really hard in those seasonal gift giving moments. We've also heard from customers who buy the same product multiple times. Again, like I bought a cookware set, I fell in love with it. Now I'm going to buy it for someone else or buy it for a second home. And I think that loyalty has told us like we're doing something right and there's opportunity to really take more share in the kitchen and the home. Um, and then finally, we also leverage reviews for insights into not only what's working, but what's not in relation to our product functionality. So I think if someone has a poor experience with our product, we want to know that so we can address it and make things right. Again, our customer service team is on the front lines. They take the utmost care in responding to our customers to ensure we can like turn any negative experience into a positive one. Um, for example, a lot of our customers are a little bit rough on their ceramic cookware set, which can compromise the integrity of the material. So, uncovering these insights and reviews and photos helps our team develop care instructions and other valuable pieces of content that our customers can use to educate themselves on proper care and upkeep.
Yeah, it's such a good point because a negative customer experience can be turned into really a positive experience if you have the right level of customer support. And I always get asked by merchants, like, should I be publishing all of my reviews, like even my negative ones? That's sometimes quite scary for a brand. And I say, yes, absolutely. If you publish a negative review, you have the opportunity to respond publicly. And then you can show not only that customer, but the other shoppers that are considering your product that you can, make any wrong a right. And you're really there to support the customer and ensure that they have a really fantastic experience with your brand from start to finish. So yeah, you're doing everything right there. Well done.
Yeah,
Now,
I couldn't agree more. I think like the customer knowing that they're heard, like we see you,
yeah.
we value you, even if you had a poor experience, like how can we make it right? So yeah, we take a lot of integrity in responding not only to like site reviews, but reviews all over the place, comments on social media. We are addressing any and all issues.
Yeah, there are many channels where customers can contact you these days. And I guess that's a good segue into my next question. When it comes to driving retention and repeat purchases, which marketing channels are the most impactful for Caraway right now?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to state the obvious, but email and SMS are massive retention drivers for us. They're how we build relationships post-purchase, keep customers in the loop on new launches, product care, um, even just getting them to like complete their first purchase, they sign up, they're showing intent. How do we close the deal? Um, Beyond that, I think word of mouth is just as important and as any digital marketing channel. We see a ton of referrals come in from happy customers. We even see that in our reviews, like my mom had Caraway, so I had to get it, or I heard about this from a friend. We have a post-purchase survey from a friend is like one of our top responses. So that kind of organic growth is really a result of the trust we've built over time.
Very good. And then, how do you see those channels evolving as customers expect more personalization and value from the brands that they buy from?
Yeah, I think personalization is only going to get more important. There's so many different ways to define or go about personalizing marketing experiences. I think people expect timely, relevant messages, whether it's restock alerts, cross sell recommendations based on what they already own. We are doing a ton of heavy lifting right now on our email and SMS automations and really diving deep into the data to understand, like, okay, if a customer um, their first purchase was a cookware set, what is most likely to be their second, third purchase with Caraway, and how can we create those really unique buying experiences through different personalized marketing touch points? And then we're also navigating external shifts like tariffs. So we're thinking a lot about how to increase LTV through these retention channels and better customer journeys rather than just leveraging top of funnel spend.
That's really interesting. How is Caraway thinking about tariffs? Will you be passing some of that extra cost onto the consumer, enduring it partly yourself or
Yeah, I think we're still in the development stages because
yeah,
things are changing every day. And
right.
this week, especially, there's been a lot of activity there. But we did send an email to our file last month, just letting them know, like, very transparently, this is the situation. We are assessing any and all options. We actually took a beat from Base, the luggage brand, thought they did a really great job of just like meeting the customer where they are and saying, like, we are in this together. We are assessing every option, and we actually got a lot of positive feedback from our customers on how much they valued that level of transparency. And again, like humanizing the brand and the experience, like we're all going through this level of uncertainty together.
Yeah, that's such a good tip because creating that community through transparency, like that's very powerful. And it's something that, this negative thing that's going on has given you the opportunity to do that transparency and that kind of connection with your customer. Now, going back to personalization, it can be a bit of a buzzword, but when done right, it can drive serious results. So, how are you personalizing the customer journey to strengthen your relationships?
Yeah, I think outside of like the obvious personalized journeys of leveraging their names and the products that they've bought or engaged with. We've also taken personalization the other way in terms of humanizing again the brand and leaning into our founder story. So Jordan, our CEO, he's been the face of our brand and a lot of our paid and owned content. When he shows up in your inbox or your Instagram feed, it feels personal and more relatable. You actually are putting a face to the brand and again just creating that human and emotional connection. And again, then we also use first party data to recommend products, share relevant tips, tailor post purchase flows. I think our goal is always for the customer to feel like they're hearing from us, not just getting templated emails. We also did like a really fun, cheeky email around Valentine's Day this year from our retention marketing manager, and she kind of like went rogue and said like, hey, this is what you should get yourself, treat yourself, girls. And we saw that as like a really strong performer again because you're just like bringing some level of levity and humor to the brand and meeting people where they are.
Yeah, it's that personal element that goes on to create more of that community feel again and makes the shopper or customer feel like they have a connection to the brand. And therefore, I'm sure they're much more likely to come back and purchase from you again rather than maybe looking elsewhere.
Yeah, we truly cannot beat our founder story paid social ad. It's been a top performer for months and months, and we've continued to iterate on it, but it is a top performer.
Can you give us a little bit of insight around how that ad comes together, the creative of it?
Yeah, we have a very small product development office in the city. So our founder just went in there. We brought in our small but mighty creative team to film. We did some iPhone footage as well. And our team has done a lot of iterations and different cuts on that story. But yeah, just scripted. Um, Jordan knows the story better than anyone, but gave him some talking points. And he just told his story of how he created the brand. And we've just seen immense success with putting his face to the brand in the market.
Yeah, that's incredible. So it doesn't need to be this high quality, high production value, multi-thousand or tens of thousands of dollars shoot. It can literally be someone with an iPhone in, your warehouse or wherever you may be that's able to tell a little bit like, yeah, leverage storytelling around the brand, I guess. Hey.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would not recommend spending a bunch of money on highly produced content. We certainly have a lot of like highly produced content that serves different purposes, but on social channels in particular and Meta and TikTok, we really lean into what works natively on those platforms, and that is, shooting with an iPhone.
Right. And I guess if you're doing things in a scrappy way, it feels not only authentic, but you can create much more, like many more versions of it, and you can try way more things. And when we kind of like live and die by creative at times on these platforms, I guess you're not breaking the bank because you're being a little bit more cost effective and efficient with it.
Yeah, exactly.
When it comes to post-purchase engagement, it's such an important part of the journey. How is Caraway keeping the conversation going after someone actually buys?
Yeah, I think I lightly touched on this before, but we've like been completely overhauling our email flows to better reflect the full journey. So from product education and care tips to cross-sell moments and gifting nudges. I think eventually we'll explore birthday and anniversary sends. One thing we've really focused on is understanding why someone comes back. So, for example, if someone repeats the same item, are they gifting it? Do they have a second home? So we can try and like tailor our message accordingly.
And is that post-purchase survey when someone comes back, they're getting a different survey altogether? Is it a different version for a returning customer versus a first-time customer?
Yeah, we'll just do kind of big overhaul surveys. And then we also have recently developed an internal customer research team that is actually doing one-to-one phone calls with our customer base to learn a little bit more about them and really collect that like zero and first party data so we can get a better understanding of who our customer is. And that's multifaceted, like who's our stainless steel customer, who's our cast iron customer, who's our customer that has bought into all of our materials. So we can really try to, again, like tailor messaging across different marketing touch points. And ultimately, you want to go after those whales, those really high LTV customers, and understand who they are, how can we market to them and get more of them in our funnel.
Very smart. And then I guess leveraging those conversations that you're having, or otherwise as you continue to grow, how do you ensure that product development stays aligned with your mission in the non-toxic and sustainable space?
Yeah, I think kind of going back to the beginning of our conversation, but product is everything at Caraway. I think our research and development process includes extensive customer research, not just surveys. Like I said, we have this research group. We're interviewing customers. We're going out to market. We're doing a lot of competitive analysis. We really want to be intentional about the products that we bring to market. Every new product has to meet our standards for non-toxic materials and sustainability. I think those are two non-negotiables for us, and will continue to be as we develop new products. But our R&D process starts like sometimes 5, 6 years in advance of launch.
Wow. How long has Caraway been around for? I'm intrigued.
We will be 6 years old in November.
Wow. Okay. Very nice. And looking ahead, what's one opportunity or shift in the customer behavior that you're excited about? And how is Caraway preparing to meet that movement?
Yeah, I think we're positioned really well because I feel like customers are prioritizing quality and safety now more than ever, especially families. So I know I mentioned Mother's Day, that's like our second big seasonal moment of the year. We are really tailoring a lot of our messaging and doubling down on non-toxic education. We're seeing people invest in their homes more intentionally, especially right now where like people's purse strings might be a little tighter with tariffs and just the current economic environment. We see that people are doing a lot more research, being a lot more intentional. So, how can we be top of mind for them and show them that there is value and you really can't put a price on your family's health and investing in non toxic kitchenware?
Yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense. And the market is more educated right now. I think that there's more of a conversation around, hey, a lot of these pots and pans that you're using are toxic and that's harming you and your family. So I think that we're reaching that, level of it being like globally understood that some of these toxins are really bad for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then my final question for you, Kirsten, what's one piece of advice that you'd share with other brands looking to strengthen their customer marketing strategy?
Yeah, I think it's really simple. Like, don't overcomplicate it. Just start showing up consistently. Listen to your customers, treat them like humans. I always say to my team, like, people work with people. I think people also buy from people and trust people. It's about building those relationships and building brand equity. I think the best marketing strategies are built on real relationships, and that takes time and trust, not just clever, like, kitschy campaigns.
Definitely. Well, Kirsten, thank you so much. We do have a few moments here for questions from the chat or from our audience. So if anyone joining the session today has questions they'd like to ask, please go ahead and drop them in the webinar chat, or you can drop them in the lobby chat as well. Um, and so we have a question here asking if advertising on TikTok is important for the growth of Caraway's business.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of our biggest acquisition channels. So we definitely invest heavily in TikTok. And I know I mentioned this, but we really lean into what creative is natively working on that platform. We have a great organic following on TikTok, but we also do a ton of advertising there. So I think being there both organically and owning our voice on that platform, but also engaging in the paid platform has been very critical to our business. We've also run a good amount of incrementality tests on TikTok and have seen that it's a strong revenue driver for us. We're reaching a new audience, and I think we're probably just scratching the surface of what's possible there. Definitely exploring or potentially exploring TikTok shops in the next year. I'm sure that TikTok will continue to develop a lot more products and ad types for us to test into. So yeah, we like to be at the forefront of testing those new initiatives and be involved in betas as much as possible.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask if you're on TikTok Shop yet, because that will be interesting to see how many purchases you get through that channel, given that you are a higher investment product and people may want to click through and do their research, but you also might just have people that are ready to check out in like a really efficient way. So you'll have to keep us posted on that one.
Yeah, for sure.
And then what are your tips for growing business on Instagram when struggling with engagement?
Yeah. I feel like well, I probably have more questions for you, so I can answer this really thoughtfully. But I'd say first, it's important to just focus on value. Like, what value are you offering to your customer on this platform? And again, leaning into what is natively working on this platform. Where am I? If I assess all the content I put out there or the ads I have live in market, which ones are getting the strongest engagement, and how can I capitalize on that and find themes or like what is the common thread and how can I continue to build and iterate on that? It's all about testing and understanding what's resonating with your target audience.
Yeah, and sometimes putting out that quantity and seeing what sticks, I guess.
Exactly.
Now, another question here. What do you think is the most important factor for brands to consider when crafting a customer marketing strategy?
Who are you targeting? What is, I think doing that persona work and like understanding what drives them, what motivates them, how can I appeal to them? That's really like going to anchor your entire marketing strategy. So, who is your target audience and what gets them to convert, buy, take whatever action you're looking for them to take?
Great advice there. And then how many email campaigns are you sending out weekly?
In terms, I'm assuming that full like send volume, but we send on average, we've actually been really ramping up our campaigns, but we're doing a lot more segmentation. We also are doing some significantly bigger sends year on year. Yeah, we've this year really not shied away from being more quote unquote aggressive with our email and SMS strategy, and it's not been to the detriment of our engagement rate. If anything, our engagement rate has stayed pretty consistent. I think again, it's just about delivering really thoughtful campaigns and messages. So we send an email or an SMS, if not daily, every other day on average. We do, pulse between the channels and then again using segmentation. So I'm not getting personally hit with an email every day, but we do have something on the calendar almost daily.
Wow, that's a lot going on for sure. And which platform are you using for your email and SMS or platforms?
We use Klaviyo for email and we're on PostScript for SMS.
Very nice. And then a question here. As the e-commerce landscape changes, what do you think brands need to focus on most to stay ahead of customer expectations?
Um, Authenticity and responsiveness. I think that is crucial to building a trustworthy brand and being available to your customers or your prospects if they have questions about your brand or they're uncertain about making a purchase. So yeah, and then authenticity. Stick to your brand. Don't follow the leader. I think it's really about standing out in what is a very crowded market.
Yeah, exactly. Know who you are as a brand and stick to it. Well, Kirsten, that's all we have time for today. I just want to thank you so much for sharing your insights. This was super valuable.